Okay, I'm currently sitting in my car, obviously, deciding whether I want to get more wet than I already am. I have actually been fishing already today. I didn't do an intro or any sort of filming because it's been absolutely tipping down, but I've caught a small jack, which you'll see here. Yeah. Yeah. Little jack. Little pike. Yeah, let it sink, yeah. Oh, you bugger. Stop it. Oh no, don't do that. Come on. There we go. Little jack to start the day. Away you go. And I've caught a perch, a pretty reasonable perch, which you will see here. Yeah. Yeah. Good perch. Yeah. Not a big one, but a decent one, like. Come here. Well, there we go. That is the first perch of the day. One little jack so far for me, and a couple of nipped off tails and missed hits. But we've had a few bites in this area, so hopefully there's a few more fish. Not worth measuring away in this one, but it's a good sign for the rest of the day. The weather only improves as the day goes on. You might be able to see in the background, it's very grey and very dreary, but it gets better as the day goes on. So get this one back and get some more. Now, the dilemma comes, I stopped for lunch and I've got warm again. Now, do I go back out and get cold and wet again and only to warm up again later? Or do I run with my tail between my legs and decide to come back on a different day? The only thing that's stopping me from leaving now is the fact the wind has dropped. Today it's been really windy, and it made the fishing really hard, but we still caught fish. I was here with the two Peters this morning. A couple of guys I've been fishing with quite a bit recently, and everyone caught fish, and we caught some reasonable fish. Peter had a lovely perch. I think it was over 43 centimetres, maybe knocking on the door of 44. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna sit it out 5 or 10 minutes. I just looked at the rain radar. It actually looks like it's dissipating a little bit, and see how it goes, because it's just not comfortable when it's cold as well. Your hands get wet and cold. I couldn't really feel the line. I was casting a lot of like fluffed casts where I couldn't feel the braid on my fingers. So I think what I'm going to do, if I do go back out, I'm going to leave the perch gear in the car, so I'm not tempted to fish with a small gear. I'm going to take the big pike rods and just fish for a bite, and just see if I can tempt a couple of fish or a fish on the bigger baits, which should be a little bit easier to handle with the weather conditions and my hands being cold and everything else, and just see what we could do. So I've got my big soft plastic rod and I've got a jerk bait rod, and we'll just take both of them and just chuck some big baits around. I'm not overly confident. I don't know what the stocks of like the bigger size pike are in here. We seem to be catching lots of very small jacks up to a couple of pound, with the odd one over £5. But you know, I'm going to chuck some big baits. So really, you're after some proper fish. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this rain finish properly, and then we'll get the big rods out and give it a good go. Okay, it's a brief break in the rain, so I'm going to just quickly run you through what I'm going to use and why I'm going to use it. It's now April. It's the 1st of April today, actually. And although I am quite a bit further north than most, the pike are still going to want to start thinking about spawning relatively soon. I've taken a water temperature reading on here with my deeper earlier today. It's still only 6.5 degrees, so it's still got a long way to go, but they're probably going to be staging up, or at least it's going to be on their minds. So here's my thinking. I'm going to use something that I think will imitate a small jack pike, because there seems to be quite a few of them in here, and I'm going to use this. This is the Ilex Dexter Shad 25 centimetres, so 250. And I believe that colour's called Northern Pike, which couldn't be any more appropriate. And I'm going to rig that shallow, and then add some weight if I needed to. So I've got a little clip-on weight, so if I do need to want to go deeper, I can. I've got sort of 3, 5, 7s and 10s. I definitely won't need any more than 10 grams. I'll be hooking up in the edges and weed and things like that. And I'm just going to cover ground, just find a swim, cover ground, 5 or 6 casts, quite slow, and then move on. I've got a second rod, which you can see behind me, which has got jerk bait on it. I'd love to think it was early enough for jerk bait fishing, but it's not, or late enough, early enough, too early, I don't know. Dogs barking in the background. I don't think it's time for jerkbait fishing quite yet, but I have got it set up just in case. I feel like I could get a bite. And yeah, and that's about it. I'm just going to cover ground, cover water, and see if we can bump into a few fish. What I'm thinking is the little males, the little jacks. Oh, we've got a dog here. The little males, the little jacks will see this as competition and want it out of their way, and big females will think, a little male for lunch. So I should cover both areas with that. The theory is sound, but let's see if we can put it into practice. Yep. Got one on the big baits. Yes. I haven't got my net set up. I'll have to go in for it. It's not doing much. Brilliant. Wait, of course it. Wait, there you go. Off it goes. Oh, another hit. Got it. I've got nets out this time. Oh, it's only just hooked. In the net. Lovely. Alright, well, there we go. It's unhooked itself already, which is handy. It was only just hooked to the top lip, which is ideal. And then got the tools out. Brilliant. I'm going to put it in front of the big camera and have a proper look. Well, there we go. It was worth getting back out the car again. 2 bites at the same swim. Angry jacks, probably sort of staging up, ready to spawn, protecting their areas, or even protecting a female. So I'm hoping there might be a big female around somewhere. We'll chuck this one straight back and see if we can get a bigger one. But I am absolutely chuffed. There's nothing better than getting them on those big baits. It feels so different. The hit is just like lightning. Yeah, so we're gonna get this one back, get something bigger. Yep. Oh, this is a better one. Is this a better one? No, it's just mouth open. Ooh, it's put a better account of itself anyway. That's not a bad one. Lovely. No, that's not actually not a bad one. Oh, I'm going to have to get my tools out for this one, I think. Well, there we go. That's the best one of the day so far. A little bit of tail damage there. I reckon he's running with an otter. Super aggressive. Put on a decent fight actually, one of the best ones so far today. And yeah, it's good. I'll catch them all over the reservoir, which is brilliant. They're not all concentrated in one area. They're pretty well spread out, and they're eating the big baits, and that just makes it 100 times more fun. Yeah, this one really walloped it. Yeah, really interesting. It's well healed at this tail. I don't know if you can see that. It's well healed. That's something at some point to go. It could have been another pike. There is otters here, so it could have been an otter. But yeah, we'll get it back. Let it carry on doing what it's doing. Okay, I'm just going to have a little sit down for a minute and have a little bit of a recap. I genuinely, it was just one of those things where I just didn't even really want to get out of the car. It was raining, it was windy, it was horrible. I didn't have a whole lot of confidence to catch anything. it's no secret that since I moved up north, I found the pike fishing really difficult. The fishing itself obviously is no different. It's the finding of the fish. I thought when I was going to come up here it'd be pike fishing heaven, and it's really, really not. It's difficult. There's not a lot of waters with them in, and those that have, they're just not easy. So yeah, it's been really nice today to get into a few fish, and to catch one of the big baits is just my absolute favourite way to do it. So that couldn't be any better as far as I'm concerned. I said at the beginning of this video that I had a theory about what I was using and why I was going to use it, and I just need to put that theory into practice, and I have. And it's I'm not saying I'm right, but I think I'm right in the way I thought about it and the way I thought it out. I think the small jacks are angry, and they're just tearing around looking for trouble, basically. I think you can think of jacks this time of year as horny teenagers not really quite knowing where to direct their hormones, and thankfully for me today they've been directing their hormones at my lure, my bait, the ELX Dexter shad. Did I just get it right on the first choice, or would they hit anything? I don't know. I think that's a debate that we could go on for ever and ever and ever, because we can actually never disprove it, because I could switch bait now, catch nothing, and just put it down to, oh well, I've missed a bite window. There's too many variables in it, I think, to prove one thing or the other. But it doesn't matter, because I've caught fish, and they're not monsters, don't get me wrong, like, you know, but you have to remember I'm beating the bank of a new water and chucking big lures. It's not easy, and it's not often that you catch numbers, and I've had three on the big baits, and obviously the little pencil jack this morning, and the perch. And I've had a really good day, and I'm actually starting to get absolutely knackered now. I've walked a hell of a lot today. I've done more laps of this lake than I care to think. I'm probably going to give it another 15, 20 minutes, maybe a bit more, and then wind it up. And I want to just, on the way home, I'm going to just swing into a couple of places that are around here, just to see how affected they've been by the rain, because it's useful to know for future reference. If I get a similar sort of rain, similar sort of conditions, how are they going to be affected? There's some trout spots, some trout rivers around this way that I am going to have a look at some point. So it's just building up this little mental memory bank of, like, a catalogue of spots, all from scratch again. I had them in Essex. I knew where to go. I knew where to go, whatever the weather was. Wouldn't always catch, but I knew where I should be at least. Here I'm starting again. So it's nice to start piecing bits of the puzzle together, and it's starting to work. Yeah, so let's see if we can get one or two more before I wind it up. Okay, I think one more cast, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, game over. Okay, I think that's a pretty good place to leave it. I think I ended up with 3 pike after the break, after I sort of dragged myself back out again. I've really enjoyed myself. It's look, I'm under no illusion, these are not monsters, and I don't care. You know, I'm not always out to catch big fish, don't get me wrong, I like it when they come along, but I'm not a specimen hunter really. I just like going fishing, and it's a new venue for me. To just catch fish of any description is a bonus. So and to catch them, like I said, I know I'm sort of repeating myself over and over again, but to catch them on the big lures is just the best way to do it. If you haven't done it, guys, I highly recommend getting yourself a heavy casting setup, chuck those big shads around. The takes are like nothing else you've ever had. It's just a poof. You feel it right the way through your arm, right up your shoulder. It's so much fun. And I think I just got it right today. If I'd have carried on fishing with the small stuff like I had started this morning, would I have caught those fish? I don't think I would have done. I definitely wouldn't have been able to fish for them in the same sort of way. So yeah, that was good. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a day there, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna nip in and check out a few trout spots on the way home. So can we all do a prayer to the fishing and the weather gods that we get a little bit of a break in the rain, because if it does, we can finally get on the rivers and have a go for the trout. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.